Another week, another episode of Scout Around. I will talk you through the pre-selections of last weekend surrounding the Eurovision Song Contest 2017. We're nearing the end of the pre-selection season. At least in Estonia, where we had a lot of familiar faces that took part in the final of Eestilao. And of course it was a familiar face, two familiar faces if I'm correct, who in the end got to win the ticket to Kiev. Koit Toome, who represented Estonia in 1998, and Laura, who was a part of the girl group Sun Tribe in Kiev in 2005. She will also return to Eurovision. Together they sing the song Verona. In the super final they had to battle it out with Kerli, who sent us a nice video last week. Thanks for that, Kerli. And Rasmus Rentvee, he came in third, Kerli came in second. In Lithuania, we're getting close to the end as well. Finally, one can say it was the 9th show in Lithuania of Eurovisios. And Sasha Song, who represented Lithuania in 2009, he was eliminated now. Was among the 8 last acts. 6 of them made the final, but Sasha was not in there. Aiste Pilvelite is still in there. She reached the final last year in that contest, but Fuzetmark, that girl with Reign of Revolution, that girl group, is having the best papers, it seems, with the most points. 12 by the jury, 12 by the public. In Sweden, a big surprise, with Lorraine not reaching the final of Melodifestivalen this weekend. She lost out in Andra Ganse. Her battle against Anton Hagman, Kiss You Goodbye, is in the final, and Statements is not. The other 3 acts that made it in Sweden were FO&O, Got a Thing About You, Lisa Ajax, I Don't Give a Fuck, and Boris René with Her Kiss. Excuse me for my language. In Iceland, we also have the final field completed now with Aron Brink, Daudi Freyr Pettersson, and Svala Björkvinsdottir. They will take part next week in the final of Sung Vakebnin. In Romania, not a big surprise, the Yodel song One and All, Yodel It by Ilinca and Alex Florea. They will represent their country with the comeback entry in 2017. Romania was disqualified last year, and we got the honor to speak with this dynamic duo.
Hi, I'm Alex, she's Ilinca.
Hi.
I actually sing rock music. I read somewhere that they call me the rapper, and actually I'm a rocker, not a rapper. But at some point I wish to do some rap music just for myself. And here it now. We are at Eurovision 2017, and I'm singing rap and rock in the same fucking time.
Hi, I'm Ilinca and I sing anything and everything. I sing yodel, I sing rock, I rap sometimes. And right now,
pop also.
yeah, we do anything in this song. Everything we rap, he raps. I don't. I yodel and we sing.
Actually, I've heard her rapping and she's good.
Thanks.
You say rap and rock, well, even Linkin Park had rap parts in their song, if you remember.
Yeah, we can call it rap and roll.
All right, perfect. Make Swiss music?
Actually, it was something that we didn't expect because
it wasn't planned or anything.
Even this year's slogan, it's celebrate diversity, you know, and it's I don't know, it's like on point.
Yeah,
you know?
It's exactly what it has to be. So Switzerland is sending someone from Romania. What would it be like if Romania sent something that sounded like Switzerland?
How did you end up with yodel music? How did you become influenced by it?
I saw a video on YouTube when I was 12 with a girl yodeling on America's Got Talent, and I was very impressed. And I studied it for like 2 weeks in a row. I was obsessed with the sound of yodel, and I wanted to be able to yodel too. So that was the start of it. And Mihai contacted me, the composer of the song, contacted me on Facebook one day and told me that he wrote a yodel song, and I was the only yodeler he knew from Romania. And then I went to his studio and we recorded it. And then someone told us to sign it up for the Eurovision auditions. And then we invited Alex to try it out because we thought it didn't sound complete at that point. So we needed him.
They need a mad one.
Yeah,
a crazy one.
You work, I saw your rehearsals, you work really well together, but how long have you actually known each other? It seems like you've been making music for I don't know how long together.
Yeah, actually we know each other for, I think, 1 month.
couple of weeks. Yeah, we at the point on the auditions, we only knew each other for 1 week.
Week and a half, I think.
Yeah.
1 week and a half, and we are glad that we reached to manage ourselves on the stage, and
We connected very
yeah,
well
yeah.
on the stage, although we knew each other for 1 week.
maybe we hope that we all go to the big show in Kiev, and we will connect more.
Next on is Portugal. They also had the final of Festival da Canção. They will also make their comeback, just like Romanian Salvador Sobral. He was the winner of that contest in Portugal. No Fernando Daniel, who won the Voice of Portugal. No de Ilinca and Alex, who won the Voice of Portugal. But Salvador Sobral with a very old-fashioned song, one can say. He will represent Portugal. This week we have a lot of internal selections, song presentations. Also Australia will present their act for Kiev. We're very curious about that, and I will now talk about Australia with our own chief editor, Stefan Gorkum. Some big news before we start talking about the artist, of course. Some big news this week. No more Julia and no more Sam in the commentary booth.
Yeah, huge surprise, I think, not just for us, but for all the Australian Eurovision fans. They were Eurovision Australia for the time being. These two people were so extremely popular, and of course Eurovision is popular and has been popular in Australia for, I think, about 30 years now. But the last couple of years, that popularity was so related and linked to Julia and Sam, and they were funny, and at the same time knew a lot about the contestants, and yeah, it's a shame that they will stop now. I don't know what the exact reason for it is, but they will have to find new names, and it's going to be big shoes to fill.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some fans are already speculating. We have to acknowledge the fact that it's still speculation, but that it is a decision by SBS and not by Julia and Sam.
But then in that case, I would still wonder why they would make such a decision and what kind of reasons would be behind that. Because it's not that the viewing figures are disappointing in any way or that they need a new, refreshing something. No, nobody expected this. Nobody saw an actual reason on the short term to make such a decision. So even if it is an SBS decision, that would be worth trying to find out what their reasons might be to do such a thing.
Tomorrow morning we'll get to know the third act ever that Australia has sent to Eurovision. What are your expectations?
Expectations for Australia always have to be high because we've only participated twice and reached the top 5 on both occasions. Sent, of course, a world superstar to the stage in Vienna with Guy Sebastian. Last year, were promised an even bigger name. Everybody was speculating who could be an even bigger name than Guy Sebastian. Turned out to be Dami Im, who, in my opinion, may not have been a bigger name than Guy Sebastian, but she did even better in the end result. With an amazing vocal performance. We on ESC Daily published on our website and on our Facebook page also the microphone only, so you hear only her voice, and then you hear even better what an amazing performance she gave and what an amazing vocalist she is. So looking at those two entries, expectations have to be high. This year, SBS has been much more quiet about what we can expect. Of course, last year they set the bar pretty high with their comments in advance, and then the initial announcement was a bit of a disappointment. So I think this year they want to be more quiet and focus on other things, like the news with the commentators that we've just discussed. So it makes it also very difficult to predict who it's going to be. Of course, we've speculated. We've had an editorial on our website looking into the big names, but I have no clue, to be honest, who it's going to be. But I'm confident that it will be a good entry again for Australia.
Well, I have a hunch that it could be someone with experience in a talent show or something like that, because I think that the experience with Dami Im really did them good in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yes, and the theory, of course, last year was that because we've heard Delta Goodrem was one of the potential names last year, and one of the theories that I've heard and that I find plausible is that she actually wanted to go, but her record label, Sony Music, who are of course have a very large influence on the Australian entry, that they said that it would be better and more beneficial for them to send a young talent to Eurovision. Their strategy is, after Guy Sebastian, of course, that sending a young name and a new name to Eurovision, someone who hasn't already conquered the European markets, in financial terms is more beneficial to them, and in that sense, a follow-up to Damien, especially since she also got a good result, would be a logical choice. Yeah.
One more throwback, because you were in Malta for the Junior Eurovision Song Contest, where you also discussed the fact that this is now the third time in a row that Australia gets to take part, and that eventually the European Broadcasting Union has to make a decision, a permanent decision.
Yes, and after a while, of course, we don't want to get too cocky and ask for too much as Australians in Eurovision, where I, as chief editor of ESC Daily, gladly count myself to. We don't want to ask for too much, but this is the third time. If it's every year going to be again and again on a one-time basis and on a year-by-year basis, after a while that gets really sad, because year and year after again, SBS has to prove that they are worth it or something like that. So after a while, this is the third time now, you get to wonder, is it maybe time to give Australia a permanent spot? Haven't we done enough by now? I would say yes. But Yodel, when I asked him about this in Malta, when I was in Valletta for the Junior Eurovision, they've all, of course, now also been in Junior Eurovision twice. I asked Yodel about that, and he said it's not just a decision for us to make, but for the reference group and for all the member participating countries. So every participating country should be on board with that decision. I don't know who could be against this. Of course, we know the UK is a big player in broadcaster terms. BBC is one of the biggest memberships in the EBU, and BBC is not a really big fan of Australia in Eurovision, as we've seen at their national final. I don't know if that's maybe a problem, but as far as I'm concerned, it would be about time that Australia was granted a bit more credit than they are now.
Thank you, Steve. Stay tuned to escdaily.com for all the songs that will break in this week, and we will talk you through everything that will happen in the last weekend with the final of Sweden, the final of Iceland, the final of Norway, and all other things that will come. We will talk about that next week and again in Scout Around.